Mr. Bennett at the prior hearing before today.
Man, hell.
Wait, bro.
Sit down! He's out of line! Under the color of law! He's out of line! Acting under the color of law! Acting under the color of law!
Trash can. He got popped. Supposedly, they heard a gun. They yelled gun. They saw a gun. They found a gun allegedly near his body after shooting him. The day after, allegedly, the dad reviewed the footage, saw what happened to his son. 2 hours later, decided to take his car and run into a cop that was helping with a graduation proceeding. That cop happened to be a retired officer, which I don't believe is the same officer that killed his son, because he's retired. So, the story began, it was that he killed the officer that killed his son.
Yeah.
Later on, we find out that's not the case.
Yeah, because that's what I heard from somebody that he killed.
He didn't kill the officer, he killed his son. He just killed a random officer. To me, that's not eye for an eye. It doesn't fix the situation. That's just an officer for someone. It's like, I don't know, it's a tough one. It's a really, really tough one.
My thing is,
Pause.
So
this situation is tough, because you got a dad that reacted out of anger, but what he did to me doesn't justify the situation.
It doesn't justify. It doesn't make it any better, and it doesn't heal the situation.
It doesn't.
I think it made it 10 times worse.
It's just another hurt family. It
is. And with this being said, is the dad should have never reacted like that. It's hard because that's your child, and you're upset. So you're moving out of anger and frustration.
I get if you actually got the officer that got your kid.
But when you intentionally hurt the officer that did not have anything to do with the wrongdoing of your child, just out of anger, it doesn't make you any better than the officer that
killed your kid.
Killed your child.
You're both murderers.
Exactly, Sky. My parakeet agrees. I lay my case.
To me, they're both murderers. The officer and the dad.
Yeah. Now, I want to know where the officer is that did, kill the child. I haven't seen anybody put his face up or any of that.
What I found in articles was they left his name anonymous at the moment.
I bet they did because now at this point he's fearing for himself. So I wouldn't be surprised if the officer that killed the child was an officer that's only been on duty for like maybe 2 or 3 years. I wouldn't be surprised. Because if you're high-headed enough and you saying gun, and 5 out of 10, if he ran behind a trash can, that means a security camera somewhere. And that's how the daddy watched the footage back. Not just that, even the body cams. So with that being said, it's like, yeah, he probably isn't hiding. They probably got him in protective custody. Because if you have a mob like that showing up to court, they were putting money on this man.
Those are officers.
But it was people outside the courthouse.
Those are mostly officers.
Oh, yeah, that was sitting inside. But what I'm saying is it was people putting money on this man's books. Okay?
I think that's all for the wrong reason. I think they went off the first story saying that
They probably did.
and they were supporting him based off of that. And it goes back to the same conversation with your mom. Your mom had the same story that a man killed the cop that killed his kid, but they don't continue to research and find more information based on what happened.
But that takes us back to people looking for themselves. But
Yeah,
you cannot go off of what I have learned for a fact from saving a person's life. That you cannot go with what the news always tells you.
No, but
because the news will lead you astray and you'll assume one thing. And then when the truth comes out, it's like, oh, I didn't know.
Word of mouth ain't no better. Word of mouth told her that the officer killed his kid, and that's completely wrong.
As you do have to look at
and people are now supporting this man thinking that's the case, and that's not the case.
You know what? I think it's more to this.
He's not a vigilante.
No.
Like he didn't go out here and killing the person that killed his kid. He went and killed another innocent person.
They didn't show the picture of the man that got killed, did they?
It's just, it doesn't... maybe I would be more supportive if it was the officer that killed his son. But it wasn't that officer. It wasn't that officer.
Once again, this is just like what happened to the gentleman, George Floyd, when he passed. It's not the same similar situation. But it's like, it takes you back to that moment of people's uprising anger and letting that anger get the best of you. So a lot of these people that are uproaring, that's putting money on his books, and doing all this extra stuff, if you don't know the true facts of every single detail of what happened, it's hard to support and back a person that you feel like might have did the right thing. But he didn't. He killed an innocent person. I kind of feel like they're just
doing it because, all right, we got one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's what this is.
Not all cops are bad cops.
No,
that's what people have
to dads,
to realize.
Some of them are coaches, some of them are teachers, some of them are pastors. Like, a lot of them have second jobs. A lot of them do something other than just be a cop, you know? And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration other than their dads, their cousins to somebody, their husbands to somebody, their wives to somebody, you know, their mothers to somebody. And there's always another life that they live. It's just a job that they have to do because they chose. But, you know.
Above your head flopping. I was feathers.
If y'all got any opinion on this, you got any thoughts, you know, let us know.
Yeah, because it's a tough one.
It's touchy and tough, so.
Because at the same time, I want justice for the child.
Oh, for sure.
Especially if it was wrong.
That's why I said it came off as a good story that he got the cop that killed his kid. But when the story, like when reality sits, that's not the case. But it was a beautiful story if that was the case.
I like how you covered your cup up. You saw the feathers?
Feathers flying.
I see them too. All right, y'all. Well, we'll see y'all on the next one. Don't forget to leave it down in the comment if y'all got any cheese, man. Y'all very chimosa anyways. So go ahead and tell us
some good
stories.
No,